He's managing tonight. He's leaving town. He's going to Seattle and Portland to go see Fish.
No.
He's like a Quinnell kind of person.
I never really.
We had Zoe Zephyr scheduled, but we went with the next best thing, Steve Quinnell.
Yeah.
I was going to, Daniel, this a developer. You know Daniel? Yes. Singer? Sitter. No, not Sider from Housing, a developer. All right, guys. Whoop. Hello. Oh, it looks like I'm on. Oh, I don't think I turned it on.
Kevin, check. Kevin.
Check. Is that on? All right, check. Thanks for tuning in to Beer Buds and the Big Sky Podcast once again.
Thanks, everybody.
We had some intruders in Missoula today.
I heard about that.
Yes, the snowflakes were flying hard.
Right.
It was snowing down south a lot today. We got about an inch in Kalispell.
Yeah.
Wow.
Literal and
really?
metaphorical snowflakes.
Yes,
were
both
flying
of it.
today.
So Bernie and AOC were there. I watched it on TikTok, so I got to see the comments live
Where was the rally?
in Missoula at the Adams Center.
Oh, the Adams Center. Okay.
It was full, and they had people outside apparently. I mean, I don't know if it matters. I don't.
What's the Adams Center hold? 7,000, 8,000?
It's between. Yeah, it's right in
Wow.
between there.
And you said 2,000 people outside?
Yep. Yeah. And people were like, it was pretty funny. But I think there is AOC derangement syndrome going on big time now.
Oh yeah, she drives conservatives insane.
Oh
Yeah,
my
she
does.
God! Like, you know,
They kind of ignore Bernie.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
absolutely hate her.
Yeah, they can't hang with Bernie, but they'll
mean,
trash AOC.
it's amazing. You know, it's their First Amendment right. They can do it. But MAGA hate First Amendment.
Yeah, they're not a fan.
No, not at all. Unless
So
it's
what
theirs.
was the rally about?
Stopping oligarchy.
Yeah,
Yes,
Stop
the
Oligarchy
Fight the
tour.
Oligarchy tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I saw they had a rally in Idaho like 3 or 4 days ago.
12,000 people showed up to
12,000
that.
people.
And I heard a couple hundred showed up at Charlie Kirk's event.
Right.
That was opposite it. You know, but do you guys think half the country wants the oligarch?
No, I don't.
Half? No.
I mean,
I don't
okay,
think so.
30% that voted for Trump. 32.9%, whatever.
God, I don't even know if it's that high.
I mean, I don't know. Like, my girlfriend's father voted for Trump, and he's like, gosh, you know, I can't believe he's not helping out the little guy. And I'm like, how many people are saying that? What
It's been
in the
10
fuck
years.
is-
Yeah, it's been 10 years.
Yeah. You know, I don't
You
know
haven't
what.
been paying attention if
Yeah.
you thought he was going to do something for you.
I was beside myself, but I'm wondering if there are conservatives out there
Is
doing
that real? I mean, are people really that stupid?
He's not. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. It is a weird deal.
Right.
That I think some people have buyer's remorse. Of course, all the people that got fired from their jobs.
Right.
Especially, and the people that they're deporting that voted for Trump.
Right.
Because that exists.
Yeah, bye-bye.
It really does.
I thought he was only deporting people who couldn't vote, illegal immigrants.
Well,
Dude,
But wait, we have to change the voting laws because they are voting
It's
in mass numbers,
Yeah.
right? Isn't that what's happening?
okay, there's a bill, yes, in Montana. Is it Cheryl Seekins Crow, maybe? I don't remember, but to make sure illegals don't vote, and there's bills everywhere for this. It's
It's not a problem in American elections.
I don't.
yeah, it's
It's not even a rounding error.
sounds like a solution in search of a problem.
Well, there's a lot of that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of that going on without a doubt. Well, Doge. Okay, we'll start with that. And talk about
Speaking of the oligarchy,
exactly. So Flathead County nonprofits are on the ropes. They're losing a lot of funding. Montana, statewide, every state. But I forgot.
do we know what kind of nonprofits? Like what kind of work
Yeah,
they do?
I forgot to print out the article.
Well, the food banks are in trouble.
Well,
Yes,
hey, as,
they said the food banks for
that's one
sure.
of
225 billion in like food aid through something.
Yeah.
That's
Well,
a lot of money.
I believe it was Jesus that said, teach a man to fish, feed him for life, give a man a fish, that is socialism.
Oh, was it?
Yeah.
I thought he said let them eat cake, but maybe that was something
He may have
else.
said that too.
He said, "Own the libs." I believe. I think that's his famous saying was, "Own the libs."
He said, as I finish my Sermon on the Mount, I shall give equal time to Blue Cross Blue Shield.
Speaking of that too, the pharmaceutical companies. Trump just signed an executive order to allow pharmaceutical companies to charge whatever they want. Like,
I
did
saw
you see
that. He got rid of the rule that allowed them, Medicare and
missed
Medicaid,
that
to
one.
negotiate drug prices.
Yes. I mean,
Right.
dude, I don't understand why the rich people hate the poor people so much, and the poor people that are poor hate themselves too.
Yeah.
That's who they vote for. Not all, but
Yeah.
my God, you know.
Well, their enemy is not a white guy. That's the problem.
it's just
That's
crazy.
really the problem. I mean,
Yeah. So food pantries.
Okay.
Are the big ones. It's the Department of Agriculture's Emergency Food Assistance Program, and it's totally axed.
Okay.
Totally done. So it's 5 food banks in northwest Montana are not getting the money. I mean, what in the world? What? 230,000 pounds of food a year that they're not going to get.
How can a lot of these people say that George Soros is paying protesters and he's buying elections when Elon is right there?
So it's just like
he's
Trump
giving
derangement syndrome.
millions to people who say that they're going to vote.
I
Right,
know.
yeah, right.
Well, so this is the game plan, and it's working perfectly for them because their base loves it. That they accuse the other side of doing things, and then they flat out do it right in front of your face.
Yeah.
You're like I said, like the Trump derangement syndrome. I mean, come on, where's the Biden derangement syndrome? Because Trump can't stop fucking talking about the guy. You know, he can't.
Right.
It's like every day he's got to talk about him. You know,
You're
and
just not going to get there.
I don't know why. You know, I can't understand the point,
Yeah.
but it fires people up.
It's now gone from, Israel-Palestine went from it'll be over in 24 hours, I'll solve it in a month, to Biden's war. That's what
Okay.
they call it now.
Doge said they were going to find $2 trillion.
No chance. There's
they're,
no way.
They're at 1.5 billion.
Yeah,
now.
there's no way.
From 2 trillion to
that's
1.5 billion. So I
That's
guess
so
we're not
much
all
money.
getting $5,000 like
Yeah.
most people really thought. And
We get checks?
they, yeah, people still think they're getting it.
All right.
And and this is kind of like the social media thing that I've really dived into now with this podcast. Trying to paying attention to it and looking at what people are really saying in like podcasts like this and stuff, because it's crazy. I don't know what to say about it.
It's a brave new world out there.
It's a bizarre world. These businesses that are with these tariffs and stuff, like my girlfriend T-shirt shop, she got a letter saying expect
Right.
T-shirts to go up 30 to 40%.
Yep.
And then the next day he pauses the tariff. So think of the time and money that is wasting by this fucking dude just throwing shit, pulling it out of his ass.
Yeah.
I'm going to do this and I'm not going to do that. They're like, oh, dude, cell phones are going to cost $3,000. Okay, we're not. Okay, no, it's not on. No phones, no
Yeah.
computers. Computers bad. No tariffs.
Jamie Dimon said something had to be done.
The Koch brothers, too, are involved in fighting these tariffs.
They're upset too.
They're very upset. Apparently, I don't know if they filed a lawsuit or they're thinking about filing a
The
lawsuit.
Koch brothers have been advocates of open borders for a long time.
It used to be a Republican ideology.
Because for
Free
all the
trade.
for all the wrong reasons.
Free trade. I mean, that was the.
So what's the
they beat
what's the
that
end
drum
game?
forever, and now
Like,
we're just in this bizarre world.
how can the Republicans be so quiet on all this stuff? That is kind of weird to me, man.
Well, because they're going to get their tax cuts here soon. They're going to get those in the next month.
Yeah, a couple thousand of the richest people in
Yep.
the country. That's it, though.
Yep, that's it.
There's a lot of Republicans that are not in those shoes.
Well, you can't. The issue is that you can't allow taxes to get raised at this point. You have to do something now.
Yeah.
Because if you, on top of all the chaos that's been created, if you raise taxes on top of that, it's going to send the economy into a death spiral. It really
Oh,
will.
yeah.
So I mean, the thing about the tariffs is that there's no plan here. There's
None.
Obviously there's
No.
no plan. And what I liken it
No,
to,
it's
you
nuts.
have little kids, right?
Yep.
You teach your kids how to eat with a spoon, or you give them a spoon.
Yeah.
They kind of take a couple bites, and then what do they do with the spoon?
Yeah, they drop
They
it.
drop it on the floor. Why? To make you do something, because they want to watch you react.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's exactly what Trump is doing.
I was
And
gonna
you
say,
pick up
'cause
the
they're
spoon, you put it on
stupid.
their. You pick up the spoon, you put it on the table. What do? They pick it
Fucking
up,
knock it
and
off.
they throw
Yeah.
it back down on the floor. That's where he's stuck. He's
Yeah.
stuck at this infantile, narcissistic stage in life where he has to have attention, and he has to have people
Yep.
working for him,
Yep.
doing things,
Yep.
reacting to his every move. That's what the whole tariff thing is about. It's not
Yep.
any sort of economic plan. It's just we're just stuck in his adolescent quagmire that he never grew out of. It really is all it is.
Never.
What?
I lost my mic.
His mic's. Oh. Okay. All right. Okay, they got it. All right, they're gonna figure it out. I trust them.
All right.
Anyway, that's kind of
Huh?
A complaint.
Oh, we got a complaint. Oh,
Fred complained.
Fred complained.
Fishon isn't on the show tonight. He's upset.
Yeah, I don't care. It's my bar. Really, So, global artists are now canceling concerts in America.
Yep.
Something I don't really give a shit about, but I know Steve really does.
Well, I mean,
I don't really listen to anybody from outside of Appalachia anyway. So.
But they said,
there's some
backpack.
good British bands, right? There's got to be. Yeah.
I mean, the Beatles. What's
Yeah,
up?
they're all
Can't
right.
see the Beatles.
I don't think they're canceling their American tour, though.
Yeah.
This
Who wants to hear
backpacker from
Ringo
Wales
anyway?
spent 3 weeks in an ICE detention center. Person from Wales. I'm pretty sure they were white. You never know. A Canadian actor on the work visa, you remember her, was detained at the Tijuana border for 12 days. A tourist from Germany spent more than 6 weeks locked up, including a week in solitary. I mean, okay, because people are now saying that maybe we don't want to go to America. That's blowing my fucking mind. That has never happened. People want to come here.
Not
Our
anymore.
tourism industry is huge. It's huge.
I mean, why go to Vegas when you go to Macau? Right? It's right. Just Hong Kong.
What?
Yeah.
Go to what?
Macau?
What's that?
It's like the Chinese Las Vegas. It's right
Oh.
outside of Hong Kong.
Oh, yeah, yes.
It's insane.
Macau, yes.
I mean, the Chinese love to gamble.
they do.
They love to come to Vegas.
They do. They do. Wow, yeah. Well, and Vegas is, so the first quarter, they were down in overall tourism
Yeah.
for the first time in a very
everybody
long
is.
time.
It's going to be the same here.
So for Vegas, place like Vegas, where alcohol sales are really lagging, there's a congressman from Nevada.
Young people aren't drinking as much
They
as
are
before.
not. And then people aren't traveling. So you're going to see, I mean, there's going to be a lot of changes in Las Vegas, I'm assuming, coming up. The housing
Probably.
market's already gone down. Prices are going down.
Well, Vegas has been kind of tap dancing on that for years. What's the old saying? Pigs
Right.
get fat, hogs get slaughtered. Where it's like you can only gouge people so much.
That's true.
You can only.
Yeah. Well, I
there's
don't know.
only
That-
so much greed that
does
these
that apply here?
casinos. Right. Yeah. There's only so much greed that casinos can do before people are like, I'm not going to go anymore.
No, well, that's the thing.
You know,
And
000 roulette. They added another space to the roulette table.
Like,
you're nickel and dimed
they
everywhere
are
you
nickel
go.
and dime and everything. Now, though, some casinos I've been seeing are introducing new games, more player-friendly games. They have to.
Yeah.
And what they're doing, like during the COVID pandemic, when they shut down and then they open everything back up, but you had to wear a mask, which was fine with me
Yep.
because I like going to Vegas with like 5,000 people. Having the whole place to yourself with 5,000 people is
Right.
awesome,
And they would drag your ass out of the
But
casino, too.
They were charging $25 a drink.
Yeah.
$80 a dinner, and you're like, whoa,
a
food
lot.
just fucking skyrocketed because the rooms were only like $19 at the Bellagio. They're trying to get people there.
Yep.
They didn't care,
And now the food stayed expensive, the
It's
drinks stayed
never went-
expensive, and
yes.
the rooms are expensive.
Everything it's crazy.
Yep.
Circus isn't bad. And, you get bed bugs. It's kind of a, it's
Right, circus,
it's kind of-
yeah.
You get some things,
There's not too much blood near the toilet. Yeah, it's okay. Yeah.
Have you been in there?
Oh God,
yeah,
yes,
of
I've
course.
stayed there.
What happened
my-
to the $5 buffet in Vegas?
No, that's
Dude,
gone.
that's all gone.
Because what happened? Okay, so you've got
That was
two.
the last time I was there.
So you've got two companies, right? You've got Caesars Entertainment and MGM Resorts International that own
The big
practically
boys.
the entire Las Vegas Strip.
Yeah, MGM bought Cosmo now.
So now, to your point about the buffets, what these casinos found is instead of offering a buffet, we can get rid of the buffet and turn food courts are becoming really popular in Vegas, like high-end
big
food
time.
courts. So
I love that.
now-
I'll be honest. I love it.
Yeah, now instead of a cost on me, the casino or MGM Grand, paying for this buffet and hoping people come and I lose money on the buffet, but I make money on the craps table.
Yeah.
They're like, well, people are going to come and gamble anyway, but now I get revenue from each one of these vendors that is paying me rent.
Gotcha.
And it makes sense. And some of the food courts are really good. The one at Cosmo is great.
Yeah, they're cool.
They've
There's
got
only
a
like
chicken place.
4
Oh
or
my
5 buffets
God.
left in Las Vegas.
Yeah, not many. Not many at all. I think Cosmo actually still has the Wicked Spoon. Caesars has
Yeah.
theirs.
What about
but-
Ed Sheeran, Steve? He's British. You like him, right?
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, he might not
He's
be coming.
canceling shows.
Is he?
Probably.
wouldn't go
I
see
don't
his
know.
show anymore.
Probably.
I don't know. Probably.
More than likely.
Little redheaded bastard. Yeah.
So
So visa
Steve,
issues Trump rhetoric.
you shared with us a letter, and I want to talk about this real quick, from to Harvard University. Who is it from?
It's from the Trump administration.
The Department of Justice.
Yeah, Department of Justice.
So give us a
Office
quick
of Civil Rights, which
give us a quick give us a quick
Yeah.
rundown of what happened.
well, it was basically a shakedown. Under the
A letter
guise
of- a demand
under
letter.
under the guise of they sent the administration sent Harvard a letter 2 weeks ago saying that your funding is at risk because you've allowed anti-Semitic protests to happen at Harvard.
Yes.
And you didn't crack down in the way we wanted you to. And they said, okay, well, what do you want us to do? And so they sent him a letter saying these things. And now they sent him another letter that said, and we want you to do all these other things. And basically,
That's got to be unprecedented.
It's just, it allows them to dictate what Harvard can and can't teach, who they can and can't admit,
Yeah.
who they can and can't
Like,
hire.
did Biden send a letter to Freedom University
No,
and be
God,
like, "Yo,
Well, and Columbia University already capitulated.
Yeah, they
yes,
To this
I know
a few
they
weeks
fucking
ago.
gave in."
Whereas,
what the fuck is that?
Those scrappy underdogs at Harvard are fighting back, and I think it's 2.2
Scrappy.
billion. Is what's
Yes,
at risk
$2
here.
billion.
They've had $2.2 billion
Yeah.
suspended, and then another $30 million at risk.
So the biggest thing, I think the issue here
Let me
is,
just read to you
Oh.
one of the bullet points.
yes, do that.
The viewpoint diversity in admissions and hiring.
Viewpoint diversity.
That's one of the bullets. By August 2025, the university shall commission an external party which shall satisfy the federal government as to its competence and good faith to audit the student body, faculty, staff, and leadership for viewpoint diversity, such that each department, field, or teaching unit must be individually viewpoint diverse.
Yeah.
This audit shall begin no later than December 2025 and shall proceed on a department by department, field by field, or teaching unit by teaching unit basis as appropriate.
Wow.
It goes on, but basically that's the level of control that they're trying to put over Harvard. I mean,
Yeah.
they basically made it impossible for them to do anything.
So isn't it essentially that the Trump administration is basically fighting your First Amendment rights? They do
Oh,
not like the
100%.
free speech because the colleges are all about it.
Pretty much, yeah.
Right? I mean, and isn't this why the Freedom Caucus started, the Proud Boys started, the Oath Keepers started, all for our rights, our Constitution? Now they don't give a fuck?
Well, it's free
because-
speech for me, not for thee.
That's right. That's exactly what's going on. Free speech for me,
Yeah.
not for thee. It's kind of horseshit that you got this one-sided government. Like, I don't think we've never had anybody like this, of course, you know?
Never had anything.
There was a guy in Italy named Mussolini. He was kind of like
Well,
this.
okay, but we didn't have him, you know? Like,
Not directly.
I mean, Joe Biden was probably the biggest criminal we've ever had in the country.
That's
He
true.
murdered millions of people and stole trillions of dollars from poor people. We know that.
Yeah.
You know, but
And his son was a drug addict.
MAGA hate free speech. Why?
My
You know,
litmus test for these free speech people is always, I think, it's horrible when people get punished. Like, look what they did to Colin Kaepernick.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
you see them turn purple really quick. really quick.
Oh, shit.
I remember the Dixie Chicks and what happened for what they said.
Right.
We're ashamed the president is from Texas.
Right.
And
Big
they
deal.
were burning piles of CDs. They
Oh,
got pulled
people
from
went
the
nuts.
radio. I was a kid and was like, I didn't really even think about it. I was like, whatever, this is weird.
But the Jews will not replace us, people, and those
Right.
kinds. Like those. That's all fine because that's free speech.
Right.
There's
I mean-
good people on both sides.
Yeah, you don't need me to tell you there's a double standard, but I get such a big kick out of it. Like Colin Kaepernick, where it's like they will cry if they see footage of him
Oh
kneeling
yeah,
during the
I
national
know.
anthem.
Anybody. I mean, it's. I don't know if you
Right.
lose that. Well, we're losing a lot of rights, and maybe people care.
Maybe.
Maybe people are starting to care.
I don't know.
Maybe the courts will be able to do something about it. I
Dude,
don't know.
well,
I
okay.
don't know what they can do.
I don't know either. He just seems that like the Supreme Court voted 9-0 to bring that dude back from Venezuela. The senator from Maryland went there to go get him today, or to talk to him. They wouldn't let him talk to him.
I think he's dead.
I mean, I'm sure he is.
I think
and
that's what
sad.
happened. I think he might be dead.
He fled, 'cause he fled from El Salvador.
and they're stalling. I think this guy might be dead.
It's so brutal. I mean,
Did you see what the president of El Salvador said, though?
dude.
No, what he said.
He said, we can't let him go because the Trump administration is paying us to have him here.
And two presidents
Oh.
Paying
can't.
us to have him here.
Two presidents
That's
can't seem
efficiency,
to get
baby.
it done.
I know. That's what's crazy.
People with all the power
Yeah,
in their
the
countries,
president,
they can't
how many
do it.
countries
I
are there in the
can't do
world?
it.
How many countries are there in the world?
58 or something.
250, something like that.
200,
Something like that.
Yeah.
So you've got presidents of 2 of them, and they're just looking at each other going, hey, man, if I wish I could do something here.
It would
but
be
there's
great if we could do
nothing-
something for this
there's-
innocent
there's-
guy that's now in the most horrific prison in the world.
Yeah, it's bad. Nothing I can
But,
do,
you know,
homie.
but
Sorry.
It's real easy for him to say, yeah, you're going there.
Shit, dog.
We're
Anyway.
going to find him, and we're going to send him no matter what.
It's crazy, and it's like, well, didn't you just fly from El Salvador?
sorry that our
Put him on
minute-
your plane.
We're sorry that our administrative error landed you here.
Yeah.
It's a real
Administrative
shame.
error. I mean, there's a lot of errors and things going on, and it is weird. And, you know, we're going to start seeing them ramifications.
Yeah.
I think we already are. I think people do have some buyer's remorse, but there's still people holding on hope that all of this is going to end up really well for everybody. We're all going to
yeah.
get really
I mean,
rich off of this.
People are
So we
still
just
saying
got-
that about Jimmy Carter. Rest in peace, Jimmy.
Probably. Anyway, let's switch it up a little bit. Rory McIlroy finally got his the monkey off his back.
Yeah, he finally got it done, and we talked to Brad Abel, and he was like, I told him not to go to that part of town, and we said, Brad, no, it's a figure of speech,
Yeah,
Brad.
the monkey off the back. It's not.
It's not.
I mean, he just
God.
doesn't get it, dude. He
Yeah,
does
it's
not
like,
get
Brad,
it.
it's-
We got to stop talking to him, I
Yeah.
think.
He
I
said,
don't
that's
know.
why you don't go to Atlanta. I was like, it's Augusta, Brad. Ugh.
All right.
But he didn't make it easy, you know. You're a golfer. You're a
Yes.
golfer.
It
you
was
know,
golfers.
painful to watch.
I've been watching Rory for, I don't know, 20 years, and it's like,
I loved how he missed that 4-footer on
oh,
18.
of course he did. That's what he does. Is like,
It's like Phil Mickelson.
I was like, all right, he just needs to par fairways and greens and 2-putt,
Easy.
and then he bogeys.
He couldn't do it unless he was under pressure.
Dude,
That's
his fucking
crazy.
drive on
The
the
shot
playoff
on
hole.
15?
Holy shit. It's 465 yards.
He's fun
he
to
was
watch.
120 out.
He rips the ball.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
He was just as close on his first drive on 18 too.
Yeah.
But he just hit a bad shot.
He's very thoughtful. Like everything he says about Live and PGA Tour, you can tell
Yeah.
it's really thought out. He's true, like blue collar, working
So,
class.
is the live a bad thing? Is it?
I don't know. I just don't think
It's
anyone
not golf.
watches it. Yeah, it's not
What do you
golf.
mean it's not golf?
No,
Do they have
it's like-
different rules?
It's
Well, no.
like it's
But
like
they get paid
Topgolf.
millions of dollars. Well, you know what Rory got for winning that? $4.2 fucking million.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, it's not
And we have
surprising.
50 million people starving in this
a
country.
lot of
Thank you-
money.
That's
thank you,
fucked
Tiger
up.
Woods. I
Yeah,
mean, you
that's
can
a
thank
lot of
Tiger
money.
Woods for the purses in golf these days.
Well-
Yeah, you're right. He
well-
made it very popular.
Live is a joke because it's exhibition golf, right?
What's
you
that
play,
mean?
You play 54 holes, so they don't play 4 rounds.
What?
It's every tournament is a shotgun start.
They play 3 rounds only?
Yeah, it's Live. It's the Roman numeral, Live, 54.
Oh, that's why. Oh, I had no idea.
Yep.
Well,
So-
our listeners are going to learn something new, too.
So speaking of buyer's remorse, you're having a lot of guys like John Rahm, like Bryson DeChambeau, like Brooks Koepka, who, John Rahm, the rumor is he got $400 million from the Saudis to go to Live.
Yeah.
Now,
Oh, my
I would have done the
God.
same thing. I'm not
Right.
saying I'm not faulting him for that.
Do they get to live in Dubai?
But these guys never stop whining now because they're bored.
Because they're not playing in tournaments.
They're realizing
They
they're like-
can't.
It
But,
doesn't
but,
matter.
but the
It doesn't matter if
Masters
they
let
win
them
or
in.
not. They already got
It would be like if someone
Right,
gave
doesn't
you.
matter if you win
it'd
or
be like
not.
if someone gave Steve $200 million.
You're a monkey.
And
You're
he
putting
would
on
go,
a show for people.
He would go into a dark room with a golf simulator, and he would play 2 rounds of golf a day, and no one would ever know what he shot. No one would ever watch him. That's just what he did. And eventually, these guys are like, oh, the reason I started playing was because I like the things like the legacy of the green jacket and, the claret
Yeah.
jug for the British Open.
Well, so why did the Masters let live in?
Well,
money.
Augusta's its own animal. Like, the USGA had barred the live players,
Right.
Yeah.
and then Augusta was like, well, we're going to let them in.
Because we
So
want
it
the best,
doesn't matter.
We want the best. We want the best players in golf to be here.
Right.
Well,
Whether they
every
play,
major,
no matter
I'm
what,
assuming,
no matter what
would.
tour they play.
Right.
So do they do that for the U.S. Open?
Yep, so
and,
they can all
do now,
play.
yeah.
English Open, or what's that called? Great. What?
The,
The
it's,
Open.
it's just
European
the
O-
Open, but
oh,
we
the
call it the
O-
British Open.
It's somewhere different in Europe
same with
every
the
year or
PGA.
something.
PGA,
But it's the live tour, in my opinion, is a joke. I mean, it's
Yeah,
impossible
it's
to
weird.
watch. It gets like 7,000 viewers. There's more people watching this right now than the live golf
Watching the-
tournament.
Yeah, I don't know anything
You're
about
part
it.
of a team that
Yeah.
has a stupid fucking name. Like,
Stupid.
What do you mean
like
a team?
Bryson DeChambeau's team was the Crushers.
The Crushers.
And he had, and I guess they have.
What?
And he had. Did you see this caddy?
Come on.
His bag had the big Crusher
Yeah.
symbol on it.
So for a live
and
tournament-
he had the Crusher symbol on his hat.
For the
his
live
shirt.
tournament, there's an
It's-
individual winner.
What?
And then there's a team winner, which is like the 4 players on whatever team with the lowest combined score.
And this is super rich Saudis, oil people,
Yeah.
that they're selling their soul.
Sure.
They're monkeys. They're
Yeah.
entertaining them.
Right.
Wow. Holy
I mean, you have $10
shit.
trillion, the Saudi wealth fund. It's
Wow.
I don't know if Ed's allowed on the golf course anymore. People still talk about the 70 he shot in whatever tournament that was.
72.
Is that the club championship?
Yeah, it was.
Oh, yeah. He goes out on the south course. He comes back with the round of his life.
Is that the front nine or back nine?
Yeah.
Yeah, you would think.
I think he's still got an asterisk next to his
I
name
held
in the
it together
computer.
the next day until the 13th hole. I tripled 13. I tripled 14. I
crashing
doubled
back to earth.
15. I finally, the pressure finally, after like 26
that.
holes, dude.
I remember
beat the
working in the
shit out of
bag room, and Ed came flying into the parking lot on a golf cart, and he was like, I just shot the round of my life. It's like a 70 or something. Holy shit.
I was like a 14 handicap. Like, that was, I don't remember who was with. I wish I could
like
remember
20
who was
years
with
ago.
me. Yeah, it was. It was, yeah, I don't think I'll ever shoot that again.
My dad
anyway.
did the same thing one year in the club championship. He's a 22, and he shot an 80 on day one for like a net 56, and they were like, "What? You're done. Yeah, you're not doing this anymore."
But hey, congrats to Rory. I mean, finally.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Finally.
No, it's good.
It was hard to not.
It was good watching that celebration. You could
Yeah.
see everything that had been
It's
stuck around him.
yeah. If
Just
that
come
Sunday
all
at Augusta
pouring out.
doesn't get you excited, then
All right, let's talk about this one.
no golf can
Yeah.
really.
I
Exactly.
guess we already covered that.
Okay. Let's see here.
I got a little bit of that. The female fencer.
Yeah,
Well,
so I don't
is
know
it-
much
was it a
about this, except that I saw my father-in-law put something on social media that said, I stand with whoever this girl is.
Is it the same? Well, it's a trans woman. No.
Yes.
No, she
Oh, that's a
kneeled
different-
because so instead of fighting a trans person.
Yeah, there was a fencing.
Oh,
she
she didn't.
quit. She basically
She said,
quit.
I'm out.
Yeah.
Okay, just like in the West whatever conference where teams weren't playing San Jose State in volleyball, like Idaho wouldn't play them.
Oh, really?
Utah
I'm
wouldn't play
unfamiliar
them.
with that.
Oh yeah, this last winter because they had a trans
You
athlete
see,
on
Ed,
the
I
team.
spend the majority of my time not thinking about genitals, so these kind of stories just fly under the radar for me.
I guess.
But there seems to be a large part of the country that does nothing but think about trans people's genitals and how to regulate them and how to inspect them and how to make sure they're not playing darts.
how to dream about them.
Right.
They spend more time thinking about cock or no cock.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It's
it's
starting
like
to seem
this
like a
weird
fetish.
kink. And it's like, look, I'm not going to kink shame anybody, but
No,
it's just a little strange.
It is strange.
They should make a game show like the cake or no cake show. It'd be
Yeah, cock or no cock.
Well,
Yeah.
okay. What do you think if you're Elon Musk's? Now he had a son that transitioned.
He did. And I think that
What
explains
the
a lot.
world?
about
And he's got like
Elon's-
14 kids.
Yeah.
So a lot of double standards going on.
Yeah.
A lot of hypocrisy, and a lot of people, hurting their own.
Do you think?
and not caring?
You think Musk even knows his kids? I mean,
Probably not.
Do they even know? I'm sure
Probably
he hasn't
not. I
taken
mean,
care
He
of
probably
every
gets to
single
like
one
3
of
or 4, and then he's like, and
Does he sleep in
you
the West Wing
and,
these days on the floor?
no.
Because he's working very hard.
Yeah,
He
right.
has to. Trump's golfing all the time. Somebody's got to run this country.
Yeah.
And what better than a billionaire from South Africa
Right.
to run America? I mean, a place where they have 30% unemployment, where racism is alive and well.
It is,
I
yeah.
mean, so I started reading more about South Africa. They're super racist. There's Nazis all over that
This
place.
little thing called apartheid. That's kind of a big deal over
Big
there.
deal down there.
Yep.
Yep, big deal.
At least they had a period of peace and reconciliation in
Yeah.
South Africa after they outlawed apartheid.
Is that why he did the fucking
at
salute, though,
least-
do you think? What is it? Was that just a mental error?
I don't know.
Or what was that? 'Cause,
I mean,
there's a lot of racism down there.
yeah.
And, I mean, on both sides.
Yeah. He hates trans people, though.
Dude, I dated a black girl in Milwaukee. Her dad would not let me in the house. He was fucking racist. And I never, ever was I didn't think black people could be racist. I knew white people that were. I wasn't. I was dating a black girl. And he sat at that door and he would not let me in. I'm like, kind of like, can I get it?
Right.
Nope. She'll be here. She'll be down in a moment. Yeah, that was crazy.
So back to the fencing. Am I going to have to hear about this girl for the next however many years? You know the swimming girl from Kentucky, Riley Gaines? You know who that
that's
is?
right.
I've never seen someone, get more stroke out of coming 5th in a swim meet.
So it's not that she just only lost to the trans athlete. She lost to
She lost to everybody.
She lost to everybody.
I'll beat her.
But they're right.
Yeah.
To
Yeah.
be fair, they tied.
Yeah.
They tied
But-
for 5th, but
Oh,
Thomas got the medal.
So
and they asked her. They gave
Wait,
her the.
they're giving
the
medals for
trophy.
5th now? Well, that's a whole nother issue
You
altogether.
get a medal for top 8.
You know,
If you're top 8 in the country, that's a pretty big deal.
she testified in Montana.
Of course she did. Of
I
course
just
she
watched
did.
Bogner today.
This
on
is the
his
best thing
TikTok.
that's ever happened to this woman.
I went back and read her comments afterwards, and she was very conciliatory to
Really?
Thomas. It was just later.
Well,
Fox News probably called her and said, "Hey,
exactly.
we
She
want
saw
you
the
to-
money. She
we-
saw the
we
money.
want you to get in on this."
Would
Now she
thou-
gets paid.
Yeah.
She's
Would thou
getting
like
paid.
to live deliciously?
She's
Yeah,
getting paid to
exactly.
testify in
Yeah.
every single red state to pass these
Did
bills.
you see her today standing behind whoever it was? Who was that woman who talked about trans athlete? Who was talking about the case with Maine?
Oh, is this Nancy Mace?
Yeah,
She
yeah.
likes to talk about trans people a
Yeah.
lot.
So
Nancy
so
Mace.
So Riley Gaines was standing behind
Congresswoman
her.
from Steve's home state.
Oh,
She was standing behind her at the press conference, and she looked like she was. She looked like she had been. She looked like what they were wearing in the El Salvador prison.
Really?
I mean, it was hysterical. I was like, is she really wearing that? It was like a brown shirt with the sleeves cut off and the belt around the waist. I guess it was fashionable, but
God, she
I was
drives me.
like-
She drives me crazy.
whoa.
Nancy Mace too.
But again, Democrats cannot. This is not the issue that we're going to make any
Probably not.
ground
Yeah.
on.
Probably
No.
not.
It just gotta.
No, gotta
we
shut up
give
about
this
it.
one- Yeah, we do need to just shut up about it.
Because I don't really care that much.
No.
You know,
I don't.
it's
And
like-
I don't
and I
think.
think-
I think a lot of people don't
I
care.
think Steve said it a few weeks ago. It's like, look, I'm on board. They need representation.
Fox News
They have
cares.
rights, things like that. But when it comes to a knockdown, drag-out fight about whether or not they can compete in a dart contest, I don't really care. And that's why I said in this point,
We're not going to win on this one.
yeah,
We're just
wouldn't
not gonna.
why not just have a division in athletics, like male,
Yes.
female, and open?
And that's
Open.
exactly what World Aquatics did.
Okay.
Because in 2022, Leah Thomas tried to get into the Olympics, and the World Aquatics made a rule. It said if you went through puberty as a male, you cannot compete in a female sport.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if you go all the way through puberty as a male, sorry, you're out.
Like, I'm
And then
fine
they
with
created
that.
An open division.
Okay.
Well, I'm fine with that.
That seems like a reasonable solution to me.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know. Maybe I'm just a bigot.
it seems like, yeah, well, more than likely you
Maybe.
are. I mean, in fact, yeah, you are. You know, I like this, the open division, fine. You know, I don't know where this is going to go because it's crazy. Like the bathroom thing is really weird to me. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, so if you were you were a male at birth, but you
Right.
transitioned and you totally look like a chick, you're supposed to go in the men's bathroom.
Right. It's a little weird.
Come on.
Yeah.
I mean, okay, I probably couldn't dress up as a woman and get away with it.
you never know.
You never know. I mean, I mean,
Medicine is crazy.
there's
these
some
days.
pretty nasty looking women
Pretty
that
soon
look
we're all
like
going to
men.
be carrying identification papers anyway, so it's
Right.
really going to take care of itself. So
But-
there'll be a new cottage industry
But-
called the bathroom police that'll be in every public
Isn't that a weird
building,
deal, though?
And
Like,
you have to show your credentials to get in.
isn't that a weird deal, though? Like, if you got a dude that's transitioned or a woman that transitioned, so say a woman, and I know there are some women like that transitioned, like Rachel Maddow's a man, right?
Right. Yeah. I was like,
She looks like Fred Savage from the Wonder Years. But say,
Oh,
I mean, she
kinda
could go
does,
into a
yeah.
fucking men's room. Nobody's going to think twice about it.
I don't think anyone would say anything anyway.
I don't either.
Right?
But it's a big deal to like.
If I walked into a men's bathroom and there was a woman in there, I'd be like, "Whoa, hey!"
Right.
And then I'd go do what I'm there to do.
Exactly.
I
don't care.
At the casinos a lot, you know, I like to party. And you know how they're big open entrances to the bathrooms,
Yeah.
and then you go one way or the other. 9 times out of 10, I walk into the women's room. I'm just not even thinking about it. It's always some chick
That
being
seems like that might be intentional. If it's
it might be. It might
Kevin,
be.
how many times have you walked into the girls' room at Glacier High School where it's uber confusing which way to go when you go in
Oh,
there?
I forgot about that retard fighting picture.
Oh,
God
yeah,
damn it.
that's a good one. Two retards fighting.
You should check out Glacier High School because I think they're
We gotta get Mike
purposely
on.
confusing.
Hey, do you got that slide of DK? So Trump just we got his physical back.
Right.
And he's 6'3", 224 pounds or
And that's-
240 pounds.
That's
And
DK Metcalf, who's an inch taller and 10 pounds heavier. Something's not adding up.
I
here.
don't know. So you're saying Trump and him are the same size.
Yeah.
Or Trump saying that. Or his doctor. Is he still the lunatic doctor
His
you
doctor's
said?
saying that, yeah.
Remember how crazy his
Yes,
doctor
and
was
he
in
was-
the first time?
I remember
the
the
most
first time.
healthiest president we've ever had in history.
Then they made him the Surgeon General.
And his doctor said Trump could be the first human to live to 200 years old.
What is with the
Yeah,
ass
it's so
kissing?
great.
Oh, think
And
how
it's
many
like,
terms he can serve
yeah,
if
it's
he
like,
lives that
yeah,
long.
sure, fuck it. We're just saying whatever we want now. Who cares? Yeah, he's lived to be 300.
So we knew that. So we knew that the last time he was president.
Yeah.
You're going to put an age limit on it.
Because
Yeah.
that shit all happened the last time he was president.
Yes,
you
it
know?
did.
It was kind of funny.
We
and I
had the
think that's how
same kind
people-
of discourse about it. It was like, well, he's clearly lying.
Right. So, well, that's my point. So it's clearly lying. So it's all a joke, but
Well,
he
it's-
knows that 30% of America is going to fucking hang on that and
It's
believe it.
Severe, crippling narcissism by Donald Trump. That
Severe.
has to be like, look, any number higher than this will make me upset. So this is what I want you to write. And the doctor's like, yeah, whatever, man. I don't
Yeah.
know.
He's like, I'm not going to
Yeah.
doctor. I'm going to write my own report, and I'm going to
Yeah.
tell Fox News, and I'm the healthiest person in the world. That's how it
Melania's
is.
like, that's right. You shouldn't go to the doctor. Don't get that lump checked out. It's,
Oh,
I'm sure it's
no,
nothing.
don't go
Yeah.
to the doctor.
Yeah, I'm sure it's nothing.
You're
Anyway,
so
sign
beautiful.
these papers. Yeah,
They
this
don't
is
even
a
talk to each other.
no.
Come
Yeah,
on.
this is called a double indemnity clause. Sign right here.
J.D. Vance dropped the national championship trophy
That's
here for
oh,
what?
Crazy.
What sport?
Football.
Oh, he dropped the
Ohio
fucking...
State was at the White House, and
He
he's our
dropped it.
A liberal college went to the...
he's our
Wow.
resident crack baby vice president from Ohio.
He's starting to piss me off. I don't like his eyeliner.
Right. He's really gotten sloppy with the makeup.
He has. I don't know why. I
But
think
he
he's
went to
burnt
pick
out.
up the
He's got
national
TDS.
championship trophy, and it like crumbled. If that's not a
Dude.
high crime or misdemeanor, I don't know what is.
Wow. What a douchebag, man. I mean, he is... I don't know. Like, that whole Greenland thing and all that kind of stuff that's going on. It's,
Yeah. You know,
again, we're just living in this weird-ass
Thank you,
place
Fred.
right now. Freddie.
Well, and the
Freddie
vice
Spaghetti.
president has historically been, it's not the most prestigious job. You're just kind of a little errand boy.
Oh,
You
yeah.
have your
vice
little
pre-
things
well,
that
he
you
seems to be
do.
taking it pretty seriously.
Yeah, I
They're
guess
sending
if
him on
there's a
important
tie
missions.
in the Senate, you show up and you bang your gavel.
Yeah. It
I guess
was,
the only thing you really get out of it is it's you're next in line when
yes,
the president
that is
steps
it.
down.
Which really blows my mind that we've had, we've had some presidents that have been shot and killed, and
Yep.
we have some that a lot of people think they deserve to be shot and killed.
Right,
So why do we not give a shit about
Warren
the vice
Harding,
president?
that son of a
son of a
bitch.
bitch,
Yeah.
man. I remember him. But I mean, you would think we would care more about the vice president, but nobody seems to.
Not really.
Like it's that token to get you elected. So let's take a white redneck and that from the South, and that will definitely help Trump.
Yeah.
We take a black woman, and that will help.
Maybe.
It is what it is. I guess.
Yeah.
Oh my God, what the hell did these chicks go up to space for? And they're getting a lot of shit for wasting the money or
Well, they
something.
are.
Like
Yeah.
what the fuck happened? I
resources.
didn't
Yeah.
see this at all.
I think it goes back to our oligarchy discussion, where these people have so much money and they've accomplished everything on Earth. So it's like, well, I guess I'll.
But wasn't a news lady from CBS
like
go
I-
up there? Wasn't
It's
it?
like
With
I've been.
Bezos' girlfriend,
Yeah.
Katy Perry.
I bet she's hot.
Yeah, she looks the part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know who else was in it.
Right, but it's like I've been
news
courtside.
anchor.
I've been courtside at Wimbledon. I've seen the pyramids of Giza. I've been to Hawaii. I've seen volcanoes in the Philippines. I'm going to space. That's all I have left.
Would you guys do it?
I don't know if I would. Kind of
think I
freaks me
would.
out.
It's freaky, but
Yeah.
the what? Oh, getting off it?
Yeah.
Well, did you see the landing? I saw, like, when I started right before the show, I'm like, I'm finally starting to see it on, like, TikTok, or Instagram. It's like that landing looked rough. It did. And
But
it was,
people are pissed off about it, and I think they should be.
yeah, well, okay.
It'll
again,
come out in 6 months that we paid for the goddamn flight.
Well, okay, yes, regardless. We have 50 million people in this country, and if I'm a bleeding heart liberal, so fucking be it, because you have that many people starving in a country that's the richest in the world that's getting screwed over by every country in the world. We're still getting screwed over.
Yeah.
We don't know how. Nobody knows how we're getting screwed over. I don't think, because they never explain it, but we're getting screwed over,
I don't
And
doubt
then, these guys go up to space. It costs probably $100,000.
Oh,
100
Jesus.
grand.
Per suit. That's what it
Really?
costs to make the suit.
Way more than
It's
that.
got to
Way
be.
more than that.
Holy
Millions.
shit.
I mean,
If it
it's
was-
100 grand in gas.
It's fucking
Yeah.
stupid.
If it was under 10 million, I would
mean,
be
that
shocked.
that's why I was excited to have Daniel on the show tonight, because he's I would call extreme capitalist. He loves capitalism. That's
Sure.
why he's here. He came from Dubai.
Okay.
Loves the ability to make as much money as you can. I'm not against that, of course. I don't think anybody is.
Of course not. I've seen the wing prices.
Yes, well, I mean,
man.
yeah. I need to live on Whitefish Lake in the biggest house. I mean, my God. Yeah,
How'd that man make his money?
I kicked Weinberg off of his own private island
the
on
wing
the lake.
tycoon of the Flathead Valley.
That's right.
Yeah.
But they're tasty.
So the whole thing was just to go to space. That was it. Just
Yeah.
so
I think
so.
Bezos
It's just
could get his
that
girlfriend up in space.
it's that tourist thing they do now.
Well, I mean, where's the DEI? I mean, why? Where's the DEI police on this one? It was all women, right?
Yeah, I don't think that's fair.
Well, Steve, Katy Perry did major in aeronautical engineering.
Did she?
No,
No.
God, no. Jesus, no.
I don't know who that is.
God, no.
She's the host of American Idol.
I don't watch
she?
that.
No, she's not the host. She's one of the judges.
She's one of the judges.
Yeah.
Do they have
That's why-
hosts?
Ryan Seacrest is the host.
That's why I said here I could think of a very funny song to play if she were to burn up on re-entry. Baby, you're a firework.
That's a good one.
No, I'm just kidding. She's got kids.
All right, let's. Kevin, could you play?
Mic time?
We got a video. What's going on in the Montana legislature? While we get Mike Jopek up here, come on up, Mike. We're going to play this video, if we can get the sound, because it's awesome. Oh, there's no sound. We got to start it over.
Things to do than to debate the nuances of chemtrails, contrails, and so much more. Thank you.
So we're talking about chemtrails in the Montana legislature now.
We're
Yep.
talking about
Listen to this.
chemtrails. We're talking about chemicals sprayed in the atmosphere with
That dude
the
looks
intention
smart.
of blocking solar radiation.
Aerosol injection?
It's a reality.
Hey,
Maybe shave
What's
that
being
head.
sprayed over us.
Yeah,
and
you
how
guys
that's
got to
gonna
go
affect
bald.
us.
Don't
All
have
these
that.
chemtrails go across the
Clint
sky.
Eastwood.
I don't know a lot about this issue.
Really?
No shit, yeah.
It's undeniable that this
It's
is going on.
undeniable. I don't know about it,
This bill,
but I know it's
recognizing
undeniable.
that we're on day 71 of the session. We've yet to deliver property tax relief. I think we have far more important things to do
And I think
than
this is.
to debate the nuances
Great
of
takedown.
And I'm sorry, it
chemtrails,
took-
contrails, and so much more. Thank
I
you.
mean, we are worried about property tax, and we're talking about chemtrails and bathrooms and all this shit. You know what I mean?
You
I
see
mean, what in the?
You see
I
a
thought
clip
that was
like
gone.
that where
I thought the
some of that-
chemtrail thing was over.
Well, I think this is more about they think that that the government is now spraying chemtrails or vapor into the air to block the sun to combat global warming, and that's why, or to combat climate change, and that's why they're so uptight about it.
I'm
right
all
now.
for that.
I think that they're.
You know, there was a man once who wrote a manifesto, and it was all about the internet and social media and how we as a species are not smart enough to handle it, and it's going to tear at the social fabric and turn us all against each other. That man's name was Ted Kaczynski, the Unabomber.
Really?
Yes.
Really?
Seriously.
I've heard
You
he's
should look
very
up-
smart. I
look
watched
up-
his Netflix
Well,
documentary.
he's very smart, but he's also very insane.
Oh, he's super fucking crazy.
But give his Wikipedia a read.
Didn't he die?
Really?
Didn't he die in prison already?
I don't
Yeah,
know if
he's
he's
dead.
Yeah,
Yeah,
he was
he's
down in
dead.
Colorado at the Supermax.
Yep, he died.
But his manifesto is very, very interesting, especially seeing now where he's like,
Is it as interesting as yours?
mine's not finished yet. I'm still in edits. My editor is.
I mean, but those guys might be right on the chemtrails.
They could be. Hey.
I mean, what do you know what they're putting in that jet
Exactly.
fuel?
Exactly. I know next to nothing about jet fuel.
Well, it's the same people that don't trust vaccines. It's exactly the same. I mean, it's not a majority at all, but it's news and it's out there, and you got legislators talking about it.
Yeah.
Idaho just passed a bill to make the sale of invectors
Ivermectin.
ivermectin, yeah, whatever, the deworming, horse
Yep.
deworming pill that people say fights COVID. So North Carolina, Tennessee, or Kentucky, and now Montana are making it legal over the counter.
Oh, that's good.
Okay. I mean,
Let them take it. Yeah, whatever.
right.
So, yeah. Recommended dosage for your horse is about the same as for you. And there's this thing called social Darwinism.
Did J.D. Vance come up with this stuff? It sounds very Mississippi or wherever the fuck he's from. I don't even know.
Who,
Well,
J.D.
they're right
Vance?
to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
I'm with
that's
Mike
right.
on that one. It's like, I don't know much about ivermectin. If people
So,
want
Mike,
to
we
take
have
it.
one more hope for property tax reform. Only one bill is alive, I believe. Is that House Bill 155, or is there a Senate bill?
No, there's quite a bit of stuff alive.
Oh, there still is.
Yeah, it depends how you look at it. You know, they're on day 76 right now, and what I keep hearing is they're trying to get to day 82, which is next Friday, and then they're going to try to save a week in case there's a federal meltdown or something like that.
Oh, wow. Oh.
You know, so they want to save a few days. You know, they got those 90 days that the Constitution allows
Yeah.
them, but they don't have to be consecutive.
Do you know what's going to happen if the government does just basically disable or strip or defund Medicaid when we pass a bill to already? I mean, the Democrats made it happen where we're still going to have the Medicaid. But what happens now that we passed it and we're trying to guarantee it for people? But if the Fed strip the funding, what's that do for us? Does it matter? Do you know?
I don't think anybody really knows. I mean, Montana has some contingency funds, but you're talking big dollars.
Yeah.
A lot of money.
And, you know, more than half of the state budget is federal
For
money.
federal money.
Yeah.
And so it's not just Medicaid. I mean, it's all these
Exactly.
projects that are
Do
happening.
we know
everywhere.
how much federal money we're not going to get? Like, we already know now the food banks are getting the money. We know that the arts programs aren't getting the money. We know that.
No, I don't know.
But
what
we
the
don't know
numbers
about
are.
the state. Yeah.
No.
So you were talking
And
earlier.
I think that's why they want to save the.
Yeah.
Scared all of us.
I think that's why they want to save a few days in case there's a federal meltdown.
Okay.
You
But
know, so they can go back in there and try
and they're
to save
gonna-
a few things.
I see them calling special sessions. I'm assuming.
For what? Property tax?
No, for whatever the federal government does. I mean, I think they all got to be on alert and ready to be like, hey, man, I know you guys only want to work 3 months a year, but there could be a possibility of us needing to vote on stuff.
Look, I mean, we keep dumping on this 3-4 months thing, but you really don't want those guys up there more than 90 days.
No.
I mean, how
I
many
know.
times are going to talk about the bathroom stuff and
Right,
making sure
right.
Blue Paul's not
Chemtrails.
in your
Exactly.
bathroom?
Yes.
So you were talking earlier about all the work that Devo did on a bill. Now, Dave Fern, our hero, is
Right, yeah.
not
Villain.
helping the property tax situation. I want you to explain that.
You know, there's a lot of moving parts going on. And, you know, the property tax thing comes down to reappraisal. You know, we've reappraised twice over the last 4 years.
Yes.
We've
Yes,
really
they have.
jacked up the taxable value of homes.
Yep.
So, you know, it's really kind of like a 45-degree angle now.
Yeah.
Putting a lot of pressure on local levies, make it really hard to pass because the only tax base left is kind of homeowners.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
know, they've kind of neutralized all the corporate taxes, so they're really flatlining all that stuff. So there's no money in those things much anymore. And, you know, small businesses, they have a different thing. And so the only tax rate, and, you know, forest land doesn't pay any because they're on productive value. Agriculture doesn't pay very much because they're on productive value. So the only base left is homeowners. And so when you jack up those rates like they have over the last couple of cycles, it really puts a lot of stress on. And
Yeah.
they've basically doubled the taxable value on homes across Montana
Yeah.
just by reappraising. And so there are a lot of bills up there. You know, it's a simple fix. You just change the number, values go up, you change the multiplier, bring it down so it's even. It's not complicated. The reason they're making it complicated is because they want the money.
Right.
And, you know, there's about $100 million of ongoing revenue that the state is getting from keeping these values so high. And so, you know, there's a couple bills, there's all sorts of bills, but I think what it really comes down to is this multiplier number. The 0.76 is what the Department of Revenue says the tax rate should be. So the 23 and the 25 reappraisals.
And
are
that's
basically
the
juniors.
Liberty Bell one,
That's
right?
the Liberty
That's
Bell.
the
Well,
Liberty
you
Bell.
wrote a-
76, ring it, you know,
Yeah.
if you get that kind of stuff.
Didn't you you wrote an editorial in the Beacon yesterday or today, was it, about that?
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've been pushing that 0.76 because that's what the
Yeah, they
Department
talk about
of
every week.
Revenue says the number should be.
Right, and every week since you've been on the Mad About Montana podcast, they've been talking about it too.
Yeah.
We've been trying to get a hold of those guys. I friended them on the Facebook and
Yeah,
stuff.
we should have a
and-
collab.
Yeah, and we're gonna. Shannon O'Brien's gonna help us with our episode in Helena in 2 weeks.
Put our viewers together. We've got a basketball team.
But Lou Jones, you know, he sent that email to all his out-of-state corporate lobbyist friends.
Yeah.
And telling them that, hey, if you guys don't get active, the homeowners are going to try to get their money back. And boy, did they turn out. They turned out to actually squash Burns's bill, 528, that I've been kind of talking about. Good bill.
Right.
The line of lobbyists
Is that
was
still
like
alive?
From one end of the Capitol to the other. I've never seen that many lobbyists line up to
Explain
talk about
why.
a bill.
Why?
Well, because when the reappraisals came in and the state allowed the taxable values
Yes,
to spike
but
like
what are the
that,
lobbyists doing?
what ended up happening is homeowners became responsible for the local levies because of the way the formula went.
Right.
And so locals became responsible for hundreds of millions of dollars extra every year that was previously paid by the pipelines, by the telecommunications companies, the utilities, and they want to preserve that tax cut. And so they lined up to say, hey, look, homeowners, you can't get your money back because we're the ones that got to pay it.
Right.
Because they were the ones that got the break 2 years earlier.
Well, and they continue to get the breaks.
They continue to get the break. So they lined up, they squashed that bill. Dave Fern was right there with them, saying, nope, 528, we don't like that .76 in this bill, and he kind of helped squash it.
Dave helped squash it.
Yeah, and I don't really understand why. I mean,
See if we
Dave's
ever
a good
interview him
guy,
again.
and, he's cutting deals and doing this kind of stuff, and, he's kind of in the trenches, and I think he's kind of forgotten what the folks back home really think about. I mean, the burden's on the homeowners.
Well, he also supported a bill to put clergy in schools as guidance counselors. And now, I did not like that at all.
We have one. His name's Steve Quinnell.
Yeah, Steve Quinnell, yeah.
Yep.
He's on that list.
Well,
Anyway.
he's on some kind of list.
Yeah.
Do you have to be ordained?
But I kind of laid into Dave a little bit on that one. He's like, "Listen, no, they have to have an education. They have to have a background education for it." I'm like, "Okay, well then I guess that's okay." But they didn't. But he told us that, and he said he did it to work with the Republicans. The olive branch should stop there. I'm sorry, I don't know. Clergies, they don't have the best reputation around kids. That's all I got to say. And I mean. But Dave, Dave puts his faith and trust in a lot of people, I guess. But
so there's a couple other bills out there in reappraisal. There's the 155, which was kind of the Democratic solution. They had this tiered structure.
And that's going to the Senate soon.
That just got out of Senate taxes going onto the floor. Hertz took it over and put his amendment in it, so it's really the Hertz bill now. Oh. He kind of hijacked it.
What's his amendment? Do you know?
He does the 1.1 rate in there, and so what the 1.1 rate does is it neuters the upcoming reappraisal that hits mailboxes in June. So the one that's coming up that says 31% increase for the flathead in the next 2 years, but it leaves in place the 23 reappraisal, which was the big money. And so they're kind of like saying, well, we'll fix half of it, but the other half you homeowners are on the hook for, which is $500 million every 2 years, $1 billion over 4 years kind of money that we're talking about.
Wow. So are we still going to give BNSF and Pacific and all these power companies, they're all going to get the same tax breaks, I'm sure.
Yeah, they still get the same tax breaks in 23.
Why?
They basically just neutered the next one.
Why are we not? I just don't get in Montana. I mean, because of their lobbyists, I'm assuming. It's because of their lobbyists. That's the only reason.
Yeah,
I mean, it's 100% the lobbyists. Because I would bet 80% of Montanans, if you sat them on a table, explain to them exactly how this works and how our elected officials are actually giving tax breaks to these people that absolutely do not need it, while everybody else's taxes are going up. Yeah. I think 80% of this state would be fucking pissed.
Oh, yeah. The out-of-state corporations, the pipelines, the utilities, the railroads, their property taxes have been absolutely flat for over a decade. They haven't budged.
It's just insane.
I don't think it's a radical idea. If you're looking at like the basic tenets of a progressive tax system, essentially meaning those who have more should pay a little bit more.
Right. Well,
I don't think that is an insane extreme.
And it should apply to everybody.
That's pretty bleeding heart liberal.
Corporations are treated as humans under the law, as citizens under the law. They should be.
I feel like
Bernie said that today. He goes, "We got to do what we can to overturn Citizens United." Yeah. There's no bill. There's no nothing. There's nothing going on in Congress to get rid of that. Nothing. No Democrats bringing it up at all. I mean, and Bernie called them out too. He said today in Missouri, he goes like, "Democrats have billionaires too, and they're horrible too."
Well, let me ask you this question, Mike. It's come to my attention recently that if you can demonstrate or have receipts for a certain amount of money in agricultural products that you make off of your land, then you can qualify for the agricultural land and not regular land. Do you know how much those receipts have to be?
It used to be $1,500.
Okay.
Very low threshold.
Yeah.
And they might have tried to increase it to $3,000 this session. I don't remember, but it's been $1,500 for a couple of decades, as far as I can tell. And for a guy like me, that's not hard to meet. My production is way past that.
Right.
Just in garlic alone.
But a guy like me who has a half acre, So I need to show. I would have to show receipts of $1,500 of agricultural products.
Yeah, but I think they're clamping
lot
down
of
on
beets.
the acreage. I think you have to have like a minimum acreage now, and I can't
okay.
remember if it's an acre or 2 acres now. They don't like the small producers anymore. They want you to pay market-based rates.
Okay, all right. I was just wondering.
Yeah, yeah.
because
And so they're making it harder for the smaller guys. And
I wanted to start it.
It's always harder for the smaller guys.
Doesn't sound like the legislature I know.
yeah, but so they got that 155 bill, that 1.1 rate that's going to the Senate
Yeah,
floor.
and
The other bill
it
that's
seems
going
okay to me.
Well, if you want to pay extra taxes, it's fine.
Okay,
Oh,
all right.
boy.
Then I don't know enough about it.
Oh boy. Hold up.
If you like that kind of stuff. But the other bill that's going up there is the 231. That was the governor's bill. It was tabled. Now
Yeah.
it's back.
Oh, it's back. Okay, because I like that one.
Frankenstein is live again.
That taxes second homeowners, doesn't it? That's the one I support.
Well, let me tell you what's in that bill. See if
Okay.
you actually support it or not.
Okay,
because-
good. I mean, because it would be
That's
weird.
why
to
you're
support-
here, Mike. Yeah.
And so what that bill does is it takes the current tax rate from 1.35, that's what it currently is for residential, and shifts it to 1.9. Okay?
Oh,
That's
what?
a 40%
That's a lot
increase.
higher.
It's going the wrong way.
Why?
And, yeah, that's what they're doing. And then they're saying, now if you qualify,
You get the rebate.
we'll give you a special cut. And they actually do. Senator Dunwell was able to get that 0.76 into the bill, but only for median price homes. And so median
none
price
in Whitefish?
homes, about $400,000. And so,
Every
nobody
community-
in the Flathead, as far as I know.
Nobody in Missoula,
That's
nobody
a-
in Bozeman, nobody in
Gallatin,
Billings,
Helena.
even Great Falls now.
Yep.
And Helena, you're
And
right.
so, it does hit a lot of homes
Oh,
in rural
fuck, I guess I
parts,
don't like it
and
that
they're going
much.
to get both their reappraisals neutered. And so if you
Wow.
have a house that's really big, but it happens to be in Glendive, and you have a house that's really big, but it happens to be in Columbia Falls,
Yeah.
you're paying a lot extra because your view's better in Columbia
Oh,
Falls. than it is in
no. I have a
Glendive.
kind of a big house in Whitefish. That sucks.
And so 1.9 is where it's got 40% increase, and you're going to get tagged with the 20% statewide valuation increase, and so your property taxes are about going up to 50%.
God, no,
if
don't
you
say
don't
that.
qualify. And now only 230,000 homes in Montana qualify, and you think there's
my
about 350,
God.
400,000 homes in Montana right now. A lot of homes in trust, a lot of elderly people who are going to have trouble with this.
Yeah.
And their taxes are actually going to go up in this bill. Now, they have some tiered rates in there that, for the Flathead, if you qualify, you're gonna get your tax bill and you can say, well, they didn't really do anything. But you had to do the paperwork and you qualify. They didn't do anything. They lowered your rate a little bit, but they increased the valuation come June. And so,
Right.
It's that kind of thing.
so-
And so you're going to be even. You'll probably be like, whatever. But
And you have
if
to apply
didn't,
for it, too?
You have to apply.
I don't like that. I don't like that. And Democrats don't seem to like that. I see them debating that and fighting that. Like, why do
Who's
you make
paying
it just
for
do
the
it?
people to process these applications?
Well, it does have 23 FTE in the bill. The Senate chairman of the tax assured the committee today that, they didn't really need 23 FTE. They're just going to give overtime to all the existing FTE.
Wonderful.
Our producer Kevin's going to come in. He's got a special question for you, Mike.
Oh boy.
But, Dunwell did put a couple of amendments on that bill, and, she did get that 0.76 in for the median price home. And the other amendment in there that I was really proud of that she put in there, and she said that if you're an enrolled tribal member and you have fee land on an Indian community, reservation, etc., auto-qualify. You don't have to fill out the paperwork. You just auto-qualify. I mean, these guys have lived here for 900 generations, as far as I can tell you.
Yeah.
You mean give him a break, actually? Come on.
know,
What are you
and so,
talking about?
She was actually able to get that amendment in there. Both these bills, all these bills are heading to the Senate floor. Who knows if they're going to get amended more? I hope they do. From there, they end up going to Finance and Claims. There's another hearing. They might get amended there more. I hope they do, because right now they're not really well suited for the Flathead, in my mind. Even though I am proud of some of the work that folks have done in them, there's still a long ways to go on them. But the process isn't over, and it's all going to come within the next week. You're going to see it all laid bare.
Yeah. You ready to drink through a fire hose?
Yeah.
It's coming.
So I went down and testified on SB 525 last week.
Okay.
And
what is that?
that was the school chaplain bill.
Okay.
And that's where I found out that Menzel might be one of the worst humans I've ever seen in my entire life. But we won't get into that. I was pretty jacked, right? I'm a nerd with this stuff, and I've been in different forms of government, starting in high school. So I was really excited to actually see how it's all done, right? See how the sausage is
the
made.
Capitol building's gorgeous.
Oh, it's beautiful.
It really is a nice building.
So I get there and I go straight to the House floor, and within 2 hours, I was just like, this is absolute bullshit. This is worthless. Why is anybody ever here? Because I sat there and I watched old man Fitzpatrick for 2.5 hours on his phone. He didn't move out of his chair on his phone for 2.5 hours.
Is he on Instagram?
Can he get on there? I don't know what he's looking at.
Mr.
He's probably
McDowell
looking at a
goes to
little bit of porn.
Washington. Yeah.
So then I look over, and then there's Seekins Crow. She was on Zillow for an hour and a half. And I was trying to figure out it because, maybe she's going to get those tax breaks. I need to check out what she's looking at.
She's the eccentric one, right?
Oh,
I'm being
incredible.
kind. Yeah. With this.
So I guess, actually, nobody's paying attention. Somebody on the Democrat was taking a nap on the side.
This is why taxpayers give that slush fund to lawmakers to buy technology, because that's important on the floors. I mean, when I was back there, with the legislators in front of me with their computers, I could see this. Like, oh, they're buying shoes. Oh, those are nice shoes they're looking at.
Yeah. Better hop on those. So, I mean, when it comes down to the House floor, to me, it seems like nothing, it's not accomplishing anything. So, from your experience, is everything done in committees and then done in your caucus?
I don't know. Debate never really moves a vote. It doesn't move a vote very well.
Yeah.
And the higher the emotion gets, the more rigid the vote gets.
Sure.
People just get set into their ways, and it's hard to move them. You can make very personal and passionate pleas, and that does get, particularly for Republicans, if they have had something in their family, like they've had a foster child, or they've had a kid who's gone through transition, or somebody's died, and the bill is about those kind of things, you can actually reach them because they have very tangible experiences, life experiences with that. And so, the legislators that have been around for a while, they kind of figure out, well, this is how you play the game. And, I look at it as theater, and good theater is when there's good things being said on the floor, and there's a few zingers, and, all that kind of stuff. I mean, that's what people want, is the theater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The votes are pretty well cast already.
Yeah. Well, and then in the committee meet, I was real surprised with, I got cut off because she said I was veering off a little bit, but then I just I said, thank you, Chair, and I just kept rolling. I mean, but it all, we're paying them to be there, right? And I might run for office. And it just kind of being able to cut off the public to talk about something they're passionate about, I think is absolute horseshit. Yeah, I think you could put a time limit on it, but I mean, if you're not going to keep the standard to everybody, that's bullshit.
Yeah, no, I had that same experience myself because I've been testifying on about 6 or 7 of these property tax bills because I'm paying attention. I learned a lot when I was up there, and I figured out that, oh my gosh, half the House floor Democrats are newbies. This is complicated. Somebody needs to help them a little bit with this process. And so I've been testifying on a lot of these bills, and on 528, which is that bill from Byrne Dunwell that I really like, was scheduled for hearing at 9 a.m. So I'm there getting on my computer at 8:30, so I got to get everything set up. Well, they changed the meeting time to 8. Just the day before. And so I get on at 8:30, the meeting's halfway through, and I text some of the members on the committee and said, I'm late, can I still get on? And Hertz is smiling, he says, nope, we're not letting you on. You're not gonna have your say. And this was the bill with all the lobbyists turned out and all that kind of stuff. And so that definitely happens, and it happens more and more as we get closer to this deadline. And part of the problem that everyone feels so harried is because they're wasting all this time talking about the chemtrails and the bathroom bills, and and the example that I'll use is that Lou Jones, and he's a powerful guy up there, the appropriations chairman of the House. He's been up there for 20 plus years. Real smart guy, really.
Thank you, Ed.
But he started this bill on April Fool's Day. It's got $1.2 billion in it. 8 days later, it's in the Senate. They talked about it for an hour on the House side between committee and the House floor. It was 1 hour of debate, $1.2 billion in this bill. And they're harried. No, it's the end of the session. This is why deregulation happened. They cram it all in the end and then just bump it over the top. You know, that's why we got deregulation. But that's the same thing that's happening now. It's like they wasted all that time early on. They had all these fights about this stuff. When the important stuff comes, they got no time for testimony. They got no time to this because the clock is ticking.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, on that note, I'm just glad Christ is king still, right? Or, oh, it's not in Montana anymore. Sorry, that's right. Sorry, Mitchell. Sorry. I keep, Schubert keeps getting.
We took the Christ out of Christmas in Montana.
That little
didn't we?
pissant just really gets to go into me.
So are you going back up to the Capitol? I mean, it's...
Yeah. What's that?
You going back up to the Capitol?
Oh, no. I just, that was a couple weeks. I might. I don't know. Next week, I'm all fired up.
Sure, why not?
Yeah, you can come with me.
Sure.
Why don't you take one of your classes, too? Let's roll.
It's been a while.
If you're going there, go to the firehouse across the street from the Capitol.
The firehouse? Is that the spot?
Firehouse, yep. That's the Union Firehouse there, right at kitty corner from the Capitol. I mean, that's where all the lawmakers, the Democratic lawmakers and union members are going, and they're just hanging out in there. And the lobbyists, that's where the beer all goes. The lobbyists fill that place up full of beer. I mean, there's a lot of good friends in there.
So it's better than Bullock's place, huh? You can get free beer there.
I would definitely go to the fire hall.
Yeah, all right, deal. Game on.
What's that?
Iverson has a place right by the Capitol.
Yeah.
Is that Iverson's?
No, it's not. This is actually the fire hall.
It's a
We were International Brotherhood of Firefighters. Yeah.
They told me I could park my van there and sleep. You know, I have a camper van, and so when I come to Helena, I was like, "You can park at the fire hall." Well, that sounds cool. You know, it's funny when Kevin, we talked when he got back from Helena. He's like, same kind of thing as when I first went and testified about medical marijuana back in 2009, I believe. I'm sitting there listening to this testimony. I'm like, holy shit, they can lie. They're not under oath. Like, this is testifying.
Yeah, they have privilege.
And you had Carrie Smith going up there saying, marijuana is killing millions of people in America. And I'm like, what? He just said what? You know, and it's kind of depressing when, and you can tell lobbyists are running everything when there is, you know, you can just lie and say whatever you want, and they just
some
do.
of the lawmakers have said the god-awful things on the House floor because they have immunity.
They do.
They have immunity.
So on that note, Nancy Mace, who we were just talking about from South Carolina, was just sued for defamation because she, a few weeks ago, accused several men of rape on the House floor. She was speaking about some bill and said, you know, this guy raped me on this date. And they're suing her for defamation. So I'm very curious to see how that immunity, because they do have privilege. They have it is right there in the Constitution, Article 1, where it says anything that's, you know, because the purpose behind it is they want debate. They want open form debate. They want people to speak their minds.
Why isn't Trump suing people for defamation then?
I don't know, but
is he
that's just
admitting
that's just a little side note. It's just I'm curious what happens with that when.
And it's not necessarily a bad thing that lawmakers have immunity.
No, I don't think so at all.
You want to protect them from their bosses back home.
Right,
and,
right.
That part I get for sure, but flat out,
the lawsuits would flow.
flat out lying, you know, just to get a bill or something you want passed, it just doesn't seem right. But that is American politics.
You don't want to know how the sausage is made, Ed.
Yeah, right.
Well,
you know.
Weinberg was up there. He was the chairing Health and Human Services, if I remember correctly. That was his committee. He was the chairperson of that. And he made anybody who testified put the source of their information on their testimony. And he wouldn't accept it if it was unsourced. It's like, no,
that's interesting.
Wow. That's ballsy, and which would seem like the correct way to go about it. Dan's a good guy. I mean, he is a good guy. I was bummed that he only was in one term, you know.
He only wanted to be in there one.
I know. I don't think he wanted to be in there. Remember Ed Leeser when he won this House seat?
I do
remember him crying on the House floor, and that guy's emotional.
You know how many times he ran to get that one term?
And then and halfway through, he's like, I never want to do this again. He was fucking. He hated
Doug
it.
Cortiers, Columbia Falls, same thing. One term, and 2007. After that, he's like, I am never doing
done.
this again.
Yeah.
And I get it. You gotta be a special kind of person to want to do it. Well, like Mike, you know.
Yeah.
You got to like the elbows and the back and forth, and you got to be able to take some punches, and you got to be able to give some.
Exactly. You have to give some, yes. Like that's why I'm interested in politics probably more than anything. Is I just think
you should run for that Senate seat in 4 years.
I will. No, in 6 years. Fern's seat.
4 years. It's
4 years.
No, 8 years. No, Fern has another. He just started. He's going to get 2 terms.
No. Ed's taking on Sheehy.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
that one.
yeah. American Warrior,
Yeah.
American Stoner.
Yeah.
Yeah. What you got, she?
heard it first.
What you got, Mr. Pronoun?
That would be a good
How
race.
fucking weird is it, the pronoun shit in the country, and our fucking senator's name is she.
Yeah. She.
I
Yeah.
just think that's kind of funny, you know? It is kind of funny. I'd like they should make that a little more fun of that on Saturday Night Live, maybe, I think. But nobody knows who he is.
No.
And that's one thing that kind of depresses me
Nobody
about.
really knew who Tester was either, to be honest.
No, they did. They did. No, they did
Not
because.
so much that they ever
well,
made fun of him on Saturday Night Live.
no, which they could have for sure. But no, but he was a vocal senator. He brought a lot of money to Montana. He was fighting against Citizens United. He was helping veterans. He was doing some real things. And like the money he brought to Montana in 16 years was.
Not anymore.
He is not going to bring that kind of money to Montana.
No.
But our voters don't care. They want macho. They don't want guy that cares. They want macho.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. You know, if what Mike's saying is property taxes are going to go crazy. I'm curious how much people will stomach.
Well,
but with the places
in the name of like
where the property taxes are going high are going to be in more Democratic districts.
Right. Here,
Of
Missoula,
course.
That's where
Bozeman.
they're going to be because they're going to be in more urban areas where the property value is higher.
Oh.
And so that's who's going to
All
be
right.
paying the extra.
I'm
is
moving to
the
Glendive.
Democratic
You've convinced
district.
me.
Yeah, I'd like to see it.
And when you think about
get a
what
job
that
in Wolf
money
Point.
is, that's school equalization money. So what's happening is they're going to take more and more money out of these urban areas and give them to the Shotos and the Miles City.
Well, that's where the Republicans live.
That kind of stuff through that. And, we want the equalization, but the more they take out of the urban districts, it's almost impossible to pass a local safety and school levy.
Yes.
Well, on that note,
Sounds
there's
like busing to me. But
on a federal level. I saw. I'm thinking he's the Department of Homeland Security guy. He looks really like mean and old school, whatever. They're saying, hey, so
really
you're
know
going to
much
go
about
after
Trump's
these. You're going to go after these blue cities and these Democratic, leaders. He was like, yeah, just wait. It's any day.
Was this the guy that was in with Eric Adams from New York that was like, if he's not going to play ball, we're going to be.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, it's that guy. Yes, it is.
I don't know his name. He just seems like a
Dude.
standard ghoul.
Oh, ghoul, big time. He looks like a thug, and
Yeah.
so we're here now, where our government is going to start arresting its own citizens for not playing ball.
Probably.
That's fucking nuts. That's not. I don't give a fuck how redneck you are, how stupid you are, how much you love Trump. I really don't.
I don't
When
care.
it comes to this, arresting your own citizens and taking on cities in your own country because their ideology is different than yours, like.
do you think the rednecks care about that? Not at all.
No.
They don't care if Trump goes in and arrests a bunch of blue city people who are
But that
obstructing
can't-
the
it's-
ability of the federal
it's a
government
huge minority
to
of
deport
people. I mean, okay, like we're saying, all hell might break loose in Montana here with property taxes. Nothing is done. We keep paying more and more. Again, I don't know because Republicans, like most Democrats I know and strategists, say we got at least 10 years before a Democrat's going to win anything major in Montana. At least 10 years. Even Fern says that. It's like
Democrats could take the House in Montana next election.
I think
if
they could.
wanted to.
okay, all right, Mike. To
If
that
they
point,
wanted
like we don't have that many in-your-face kind of Democrats, and we don't have the when you look at the flathead
Do we need
Democrats.
that, Mike? Do we need to be in your face? Do we need to be that?
Well, I think you got to be aggressive.
I don't think you need to be in your face, but you have to be able to talk like a real person.
Right.
And you got to stop this policy and debate that you got to be this tall to get this thing, this tall to you got to work for just Montanans
Right.
and working guys and working women. I mean, that's the part that Democrats are kind of missing is they're focusing on Medicaid. Great program to focus on. But look,
Right.
who in here is on Medicaid? I know
No.
it helps our hospitals and it does good things like that, but those are intangible things that folks can't come to terms with. And the property tax things that they're kind of pushing forward, well, it helps the homes that have a worse view.
Right,
It
right.
doesn't help the homes that are in Columbia Falls that might have a better view.
Yeah.
And so they got to stop doing that kind of stuff. And they got to start focusing on winning.
Right, right.
One of the things that's really upsetting to me is I saw this David Hogg kid You know, from,
Yeah, yep.
From the school shooting,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and you know he's doing some great stuff. Nothing against him, but now he's number 2 at the DNC.
Yes.
And,
That blew my mind.
And he's saying that, we're going to raise $20 million.
Yeah, they're gonna
and
primary.
We're going to go primary Democrats. And it's like, wait a minute, that's not big tent stuff. That's ideological warfare within the party. That is a losing strategy.
That's horrible. Let the Republicans do that, you
Well,
know?
we'll see.
And somehow they get away with a lot of that stuff, I guess, you know?
That's like if we tie our wagon to AOC, we are lost for a while.
I don't know.
No.
It's pretty popular.
So, okay, all right.
I-
We talked about this yesterday
Yeah.
during trivia. I said, okay, the rallies tomorrow, and I've been watching these rallies. I go, does it fucking matter at all? And Ryan's like, hey, it's like neither of them are going to be president, but the people that are focused on them, that are watching this, they're gonna support somebody for president.
I think the oligarchy thing might have more legs than people realize.
I think it does.
It
too.
should.
With Bernie on board.
Right.
You know, because his message is resonating, and it was Bernie voters that ended up voting for Trump.
Yes. Oh, without a doubt.
And so, because, you know, the Bernie voters, they're like, look, I'm getting hosed. I've been supporting these guys for 20 years, and I've been getting hosed this whole
Big time. Yep.
My-
Bernie's willing to say healthcare for all, the economy's rigged against you, and
So-
people know that he's on their side.
Yeah, my dad, you know, who is the least political man I know. He's just, that's not his thing. There's no way he knows who the vice president is. There's just no way. But anyway, Greg, there's no way.
What's up,
You know,
Greg?
he voted for Obama in 2008, Romney in 2012, and in 2016, I remember him telling me, this Bernie guy is very interesting. He's got a lot of good ideas. And it's like, that is, and then, you know, Trump, I assume, I don't know, we don't really talk about it.
You know what, though? That
but
might
to go
sum up
Obama,
America.
Romney, Bernie in, you know, less than 10 years.
I don't know anybody that did that, but I'll be honest.
I
There's
think more people did
probably a
than
lot.
You want to
Probably.
probably not. Well, so I tell people the last Democrat I voted for, since I voted for Biden in 2020 because of my disdain for Trump. I really did. That was the last Democrat I voted for was Bill Clinton in '92. I voted Libertarian ever since.
I think that was the last time Montana went blue.
It was. We
My
elected.
history
We
is
elected.
correct.
You're,
In the
you're completely
electoral
right.
college, I think the
Yep.
last time Montana was blue was.
Yep,
For
92
Clinton,
and 96,
92 and
both
96.
times.
Ron
Yep.
Paul, right?
Yep, it was. Pretty sure that's right.
Yeah, no, that was the last
That
time I
was a Ron
did.
Paul vote.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
oh, definitely. Yeah, that Ron Paul vote. You know, I'll be honest. I
But
was
so
like,
to Steve's point, maybe because I know AOC is pretty reviled on the right. She drives my father-in-law nuts.
but the ones on the right that drive the left nuts are there. They're winning. I see what
But
you're saying.
I think there's something to the message, this fight the oligarchy, because
there should be.
people, if they're not fed up, they should be.
Yeah. There's something to that message. I hope it's carried by the right messenger,
Yeah,
because that does matter.
it does.
It does.
It matters.
Do you think enough of the poor, less educated people know what oligarchy even means?
Probably not.
No.
Are they going to vote for a guy like Pete Buttigieg? I don't know if they would.
No.
He's a fag, so
Yeah,
no.
well, he is.
We just
He's
haven't
too
found
smart.
ways.
He's way too smart.
Right.
I mean, that guy can talk. He
Well,
is.
and is that what they're missing? I think about this all the time. Is that all the Democrats are
would've-
missing is charisma? Do they need just someone like Obama that can speak?
Yes,
that can,
every party
Well, I
does.
That
mean,
can
look
make
like a
people
Brian
feel
Schweitzer.
good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I mean,
Brian Schweitzer.
He became more popular the more showmanship he put on.
Yeah.
Yes, you're right. He totally
he
did.
did. He went from 55 the first election to like 67
Yeah.
the next election, and he beat
Yep.
that Republican Brown the second time. Not
Oh, yeah,
the
Bob
first
Brown,
round,
yeah.
but the second Brown, Roy Brown.
Roy Brown.
Roy Brown.
Roy Brown was the number 2 Brown.
Yeah.
Kendall Van Dyke
And
took
he
down Roy
just
Brown by 7 votes.
He just squashed him in just about
Yeah.
every
Well,
county
remember Roy
in
Brown? He
Montana.
wore a corsage, or what do you call the?
Oh, an
remember
ascot?
Roy
Is that-
Ascot
yeah,
or something?
ascot,
That was
yeah.
the weirdest dude ever. And I remember that race. I'm like, Roy Brown's not going to be the governor of
Well,
Montana.
when I think about charisma for the Democrats, like someone like Schweitzer and Obama, I just don't know how deep their bench is.
How do we get
On a
Schweitzer to run for
federal level.
governor? He can. It's legal for Schweitzer to run for governor again.
I thought he was
It-
termed
it's-
out.
No.
It's legal, but you're going to have to talk to Nancy.
Really? It's his wife, huh?
Well, it's
Maybe we should
you
get her on the
always have to
podcast.
talk to the spouse.
Should we get her on the
Schweitzer's what,
podcast?
70?
I think he's the only guy that could beat Gianforte. I don't see
He's
anybody.
out.
Are done.
He's
Yeah.
turned
Oh, he's
out.
termed. That's
He's the
right.
only guy that can
Oh,
beat-
I mean Knutson.
Can beat
Knutson.
Austin Knutson. Yeah.
It's going to be Knutson,
of
a
course
guy
it
that's going to lose his license and be suspended and like a horrible human being, and that's going to be our next governor. Of
course he will.
because people don't want to get educated on the subject. They don't, and and that's one thing we talk about a lot. That's kind of why we're doing the podcast.
I don't even know who they would.
We're
who are they
doing
gonna
a
run
political.
against?
We're doing a political podcast for the ill-informed voter.
Yeah.
I mean, and some of the people that are following us and watching us are definitely somebody that don't. They're just watching us because either they know us or some clip
Are we
was
up to
funny.
8 people?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Who would
Eight-
they even run against a guy like Austin Knutson? I don't even know who the Montana Democrats have on the bench.
In my opinion, it's going to be Jesse Lazovich, which we'll be interviewing in 2 weeks in Helena at Bullock's
Okay.
Bar.
All right.
I see him. I see Bussy maybe trying again, but I think Bussy's going against Zinke.
Yeah. I think the bench
Okay.
is the wrong way to look at it.
Yeah.
I think it's got to come from the ground up.
Mike
I mean-
Jopek.
I mean, that. No, not
Jopek
yet,
for
but
governor.
That's where Brian Schweitzer came. When Brian Schweitzer when he ran against
Came out of nowhere.
Conrad Burns. Who the heck is this guy?
Yeah.
Right.
Remember Conrad Burns?
Same with
Yes, I
Obama. Who the heck is?
Yeah, who is this guy? Hey, who's Mike Jopek, huh?
Well, I'm famous. I'm up here with
I
you.
know.
Yeah,
dude.
right.
So.
Well, what about you? You can run for governor.
No autographs, please. Yeah.
Yeah. We got to hold back the crowd tonight. That's the way it is.
The other thing that I think is really worthy of noticing is every bill in the legislature that tried to make justice partisan has died.
Died.
Yes.
It's all done.
That's good.
I think that's amazing.
That
Mike,
really is a big step forward.
I think that gives us
Yep.
some hope. I think it gives moderates and people on the left, it gives them some hope for Montana.
Flathead County District Court Judge Dan Wilson
he's
announced,
running for Supreme Court.
announced his candidacy for Supreme Court, and so did Flathead County District Court Judge Amy Eddy.
And who? Amy Eddy. It sounds familiar.
Oh,
Yeah, she's been
Whitefish lady,
a district court judge for a long time.
Okay. All right. And what? So they're both running.
Some people
Yep.
love her, some people hate her.
Yep, they're both running.
They're all that way. I mean,
Yeah.
they're all that way.
Bring them on the show.
I think
I don't know. I don't know how they'd
that's
be
a
as
test of a good
guests.
judge.
But
I mean, that really.
Who?
I think-
What?
I think that's a test of a good judge.
some people love him, some people hate him.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, and you can't let that bother you.
She's a good person.
Yeah. Okay. Oh, yeah. Maybe we should try to get him on
We'll
at
ask
some
him.
point. So there's going to be a special election for that because somebody's retiring. What?
Beth Baker, Justice Beth Baker, is retiring from
When?
the Supreme Court soon.
Why wouldn't she have just done it before the election and dealt with it that way?
I don't know, but I believe it's June 1st is the deadline to apply to run for judge,
I don't know what her time
and
is.
I don't know what her timeline is.
Do you
but
have to
then
have a law degree to in Montana to,
I'd hope so.
to run for judge?
I doubt it.
Well, I know you do because Jerry O'Neill was trying to run.
Yeah.
Oh,
He's-
Jerry,
he tries
crazy
to run.
Jerry.
And you know,
That's
they wouldn't
right.
let him. You know, Jerry
do
O'Neill,
not, to
I wanna
answer your-
get paid in gold bullion.
To answer your question, Steve, you do not need to have a law degree to be a lower court judge.
I love Jerry
misdemeanor.
O'Neill. I
So
think that guy's
municipal.
precious.
Yeah, municipal.
When it came to marijuana, he's like, everybody should be able to smoke marijuana. But in their house, in their bedroom, with their blinds drawn. What the fuck is that, dude? You know?
I mean, I talked about one of Jerry's bills before, and that was his public flogging to get your jail sentence reduced.
Yes,
You know, and it's
yeah.
like, oh my
Hey,
God.
not the
that
worst
is so
idea.
creative.
Yeah, not the worst idea.
That made sense to me because that'd be entertaining. You could sell tickets,
not
the
the
county
worst
could make some
idea.
money.
You know, I've seen, I'm in court every day. I see you get $88 a day towards your fines if you want to sit in the county jail. And I have seen judges, my clients that are frequent flyers, they come up and the judge goes, you owe
Frequent flyers.
you owe $4,000 to this court. You can either get on a payment plan or you can sit in jail for 96 days. And it's December and they go, yeah, all right, that's fine. The judge is like, really? And you go, yeah.
Who cares? We won.
I'll
Trump
spend the
won.
winter in county, read a couple books, 3 hots and a cot, and I'll get out. The birds will be chirping. Yeah,
3 hots and a cot.
3 hots and a cot.
Want some love sometimes, I
sounds
mean,
kind of nice. You
It
just sit-
does.
all those books on your shelf you haven't gotten a chance to read. you
right.
can just
A little vacation.
put me in the hole, just solitary confinement. I'll crank through War and Peace. Whatever.
Crank there.
Do you get
You
paid
have more
if you
enough
go to
time.
Solitary.
No, you just have to be a bad boy.
Oh, yeah. You got anything else, Mike? Anything else in the legislature?
State budget's on the Senate floor tomorrow.
Oh, that's right.
$17 billion bill.
That's
Oh,
House
wow.
Bill 2.
Yeah,
That's cool.
House Bill 2.
17, what? 17 billion.
17 billion.
Doesn't that seem like a high number for Montana or no?
When I was up there, it was $8 billion, so I don't know. It's
Dude,
17.
that's
Is
what I'm
that more than
saying.
8,
It's more than doubled.
That's a lot of money.
Holy shit.
Does that include the slush fund coming back into the budget, or no?
That is exclusive of this.
Yes.
No,
Much
no,
like
no,
Trump's
no, no, no.
birthday parade is exempt from Doge cuts.
Birth of the Army and the birth
There's
of
a couple
Trump.
of slush funds things going. House Bill 4 was the original slush fund. That's got the $1.2 billion of APRA money, federal money for infrastructure and pandemic kind of relief, that kind of some Medicaid support.
Is that money guaranteed? They
That's
can't
money
cut that
in
now?
Montana's
It is
bank.
okay.
So
It's
that's
already
the
been
money
paid.
that the governor was skimming the interest
Right,
on. And
yep.
He raised like $100 million.
Well, he's a businessman.
Yeah, it's not like I got to do some pet projects with this money.
Why don't we do that to help our less fortunate? Take that kind of money, take that interest, and like.
How about
do-
how about support our schools? Fuck
You
the
know,
less
if-
fortunate. Let's
yeah.
support the schools.
Like I could see Ryan
can
Bussey
support a lot of
creating a
less
slush
fortunate
fund,
people
but putting
in
that money
school.
into schools or into homeless people. I could see that, and I think that's a great idea. And I think governments, like now that you've been talking about the slush fund every week, and I'm starting to figure it out and understand it, and being like, wow, he's taking this money, and the money's there, but the interest, hey.
No one said I couldn't do it.
Why not put this in a money market and make some fucking money
Yeah.
off of it, you know?
And that's what they did. It was good money, and it was taxpayer money. Started
And
as
I'm not
taxpayer
against investing that money if it's sitting in there and we've got a surplus at all. But I am
the
against it.
legislature appropriates.
Why aren't we spending the 1.2 billion though? That's the question, right?
We've been hoarding at it because we're making money on it, and that money is now going into different, as one-time only OTO money, going into different parts of the state budget. And when that OTO money runs out, and they've cut the income taxes in subsequent years, there's going to be this reckoning that's going to happen with the next governor that no one really yet
Right.
fully sees. That
Right.
the one-time money is going to run out. You're going to have to figure out what to do.
Well, and with all this government,
Same
with
thing happened to schools across Montana.
all the Doge cuts and all the federal money that's disappearing from a lot of places. Like Montana's been one of the few states that has a bonus almost every year. We have a bonus. We have a surplus of money. Not many states can say that.
No.
And we've been on a great
Right now, the surplus is $1 billion.
I mean, that's amazing.
And so when you think
And we're
about
still
it,
getting
they
taxed.
have a $1 billion surplus and they still want to overtax homeowners.
Right.
It's like, wait, what planet are you guys
And
on?
cut programs
And that
and
surplus
stop
is
fund.
coming from the tax from
Yeah.
the reappraisal of
the
property tax.
I mean,
that's where it's coming.
It's crazy shit. It's all crazy.
Wasn't it Braxton or Schubert? One of them, maybe Braxton, had one of those bills to give the surplus back to the citizens or something that went nowhere. Maybe I'm
Really?
confused.
Oh, I didn't see
Yeah,
that.
I think there's been probably a lot of.
You
give
see
the
those
money
bills
back,
they get throw out. They go,
rebates,
any surplus, we should just divide it up by taxpayers in Montana and give it back to them.
I did see we passed a roundabout bill.
Did we?
Because we're fucking retarded in Montana. We
God.
can't figure out roundabouts.
Frank Sweeney is going to be pissed.
Oh, I bet he will.
Yeah.
I bet he will.
He hates roundabouts.
Well-
roundabouts and trolleys.
Anyway.
Yeah, tow trucks get right away
Yeah.
now in roundabouts, right?
That's it.
Yeah.
Well,
I think
everybody,
that's what it
all
was,
the big trucks or what. I mean, to me, stop. Can we stop being a laughing stock? I don't know. No, you're right. No, not with
I mean, the
not with
best
Schubert and
roundabout
Mitchell.
is the Costco roundabout. Let's be fair. They got the two-tiered roundabout.
I know.
It's about 6 feet wide.
Gives people fits.
That is the dumbest. That's the dumbest one ever.
It is pretty
Wait, so
dumb.
what about this roundabout bill? They're outlawed or they're legal now?
No, they're making it so
Tow trucks.
and people pulling trailers and stuff have right away.
Don't
Which-
have to stop.
Which they have right away anyway because they're way fucking bigger and it is what
And
it
they're
is.
in the roundabout going
And they're in the
around.
roundabout. I mean, it's dumb. I mean, it's dumb. We do, like in our video before about the chemtrails. The only sane voice in that whole video was a Democrat saying, "Could we just do something about tax relief?" So I watched Bogner is active on TikTok. Senator Bogner, he's
Where's
a
he from?
Republican. I don't know, but I follow his TikTok. And today he was really proud of some bill or whatever and stuff. But I'm just thinking to myself, I'm like, man, oh man, his comments are like, bro, what about property tax? Where's top property tax? Are you talking about property tax? Hey, property tax. So all his followers and stuff, Republican and Democrat, people are watching it, are asking about this, and he's talking about all these other shitty bills that nobody gives a fuck about and sick of us wasting our time on it, But it's more of that base ammo.
Well, I think it's an interesting question. Like Mike said, if the Democrats want to take back the Montana House, They can if they want to.
They can. The redistricting was
I
very
think the door is
good.
open.
Because
You
how
get
much
to a
longer?
midterm election where the enthusiasm is favoring the opposition party.
How much longer are people going to, comment on those videos and then hold their nose and vote for you just because you have an R next to your name?
Well,
Eventually,
that's-
the tide's going to turn.
Okay, you would think, because, and it always turns.
It turns.
In the South, Jimmy Carter won all the southern states.
Right.
He
So
won the
did
Bible
Clinton.
Belt because a D was by his name.
So did Clinton.
Reagan turned it around.
Yep.
They all, you're right.
And
They all
look
did.
what Schweitzer did in 2004. He was top
Yeah.
of the ticket governor. He beat local boy Bob Brown by 5 points. And the Senate turned Democrat, and the House turned Democrat.
And the Attorney
He had
General was
very
Democrat. The
long
Secretary of
coattails
State
with
was
him.
Democrat.
It wasn't,
That was a lot of Democrats. Like, that was weird to me, living in Montana. I'm like, damn, we just got 5 fucking Democrats
the
elected.
presidential election was
Especially
not
after Judy Marks.
that many votes.
Yep.
Yeah, we went from Judy to, Judy, we can thank Judy a lot for that, I bet. I really think so. Anyway, all right, next week, we think we're going to have Tanya Horn on, maybe.
Who's that?
She runs the warming center in Kalispell, and
Okay.
she's very conservative and a good person.
Very
If not, I think what we'll
That's interesting.
I think all 4 of us will just sit down here and talk
that true?
about everything the session wrapping up and what's going
I
on.
think it's all going to be over, by Wednesday. If they're wrapping
Exactly.
up Friday,
That's-
there's no more amendments time. Everything's
Nope.
going to be on the table.
I think we'll know what's happening by Wednesday, and I think it might be a good idea. If Tanya can't make it for some reason, I think we just talk about, Montana. I think it'd be a good idea.
No, there's a lot of money on the table. There's,
Yeah, there is.
There's trust funds. There's new $1.2 billion trust funds. There's this slush fund, $1 billion slush fund. The $17 billion in House Bill 2.
So much
there's
money.
So
I
much
know,
money on
so
the
much
table.
fucking money.
That's going to be all decided this week. Yep. And it's going to be decided by a small handful of groups.
Yep.
And those 750 registered lobbyists.
Just like IR 126, the reason that Frank Garner and these guys wanted to pass this was only 8% of the electorate votes who wins. That's wrong, and that's got to change. And hopefully that will change. All right, thanks a lot, Mike.
Thank you, Mike.
Thanks for coming, Steve.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, Ryan.
Thanks, Ed.
Hey, we got our one fan is
Thank you, Kevin.
clapping.